Hello and welcome to my channel, Lucky Sweetheart Vintage, a place where kitsch comes to play and fabulous finds are around every corner. My name is Catherine and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that is vintage plastics. You got that right. I'm talking about Bakelite, Lucite, Celluloid, and I'm going to teach you how to identify and differentiate each of the three vintage plastics. After that, I will show you my entire personal collection, and I'll give you a little quizzy-do on which items are actually celluloid, Bakelite, Lucite. You get the point. After that, at the end, I'll let you know how much these items are really worth in the real world today. And I'll give you some real examples of how much people are paying for different things. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So let's begin with my favorite, Lucite. Lucite is an acrylic resin and it's translucent, but color can be added to it as well. So it was invented way back in the 1800s under different formations like plexiglass, and it had all of these different names. But the modern Lucite was actually invented by the DuPont company back in the 1930s. And the reason that it is as popular as it is today, I mean, I just recently saw a Lucite stapler being sold somewhere, but the reason it is so popular today as it was back then is because it is a shatterproof form of glass. So no matter how many times your kid knocks into that Lucite table, it's not going to break. It's not going to shatter because it's not glass. So when we're identifying Lucite, the number one thing that you're going to look for is whether or not it's clear. If the item is translucent, then it's likely Lucite. Celluloid was invented back in the 1870s as an alternative to ivory, and it looks so much like it. In fact, I've gotten ivory and celluloid confused before. But on another note, celluloid is still used today for certain things like guitar picks, and I literally can't think of anything else other than guitar picks that use celluloid today, and that is because celluloid is very flammable. Now, if you're a fan of Italian cinema, like I'm a fan of Italian cinema, then you've probably heard of a movie called Cinema Paradiso. Literally best movie ever. It's by Joseph Tonatore and it's from like the 80s, and you should watch it if you haven't seen it. But anyway, the protagonist grows up to be a cinematographer, but he works at this place called Cinema Paradiso, and the projectionist there like teaches him all this stuff. And one day the film stock, all made of celluloid, goes on fire and the entire Cinema Paradiso like burns down to the ground. And all of these Italians like during World War II are left like really like with nothing else to do because that was their big thing like in the town. Like they would like love going to the cinema. But by the 1950s, acetate had replaced celluloid in film stock, and thankfully less theaters were burned down. So if Cinema Paradiso would have taken place in the 1960s instead of the 1940s, then that issue probably wouldn't have happened. And the plot for the movie would have been a lot different, to be honest with you. Bakelite was invented in 1907 in Yonkers, New York, by a man named Leo Bakelite. And it is distinctively known as the first of the plastics that is made entirely from synthetic materials. So of course, celluloid, the thing about that is that it's somehow derived from camphor, which is a tree, and I don't know exactly how it is, but sometimes celluloid like actually has the scent of camphor in it. But Bakelite is, the scent associated with it is formaldehyde. It is completely synthetic. Bakelite is known for its array of beautiful jewel-toned colors. In fact, one of the selling points for Bakelite way back when it was first invented was the fact that they could make all of these different colors for it. Now, in another video, I'll go into a little bit more depth about the different colors and about the end of the day colors and the names for them. They've got really cool names like spinach and egg yolk, but we're not going to go into that today. But just know that if you see some really, truly jewel-toned colors of all the plastics, it's most likely going to be Bakelite. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you some of the stuff from my personal collection. So we're going to start out with these two items and we're going to identify which these are of Lucite, Bakelite, or celluloid. We're going to take a look at this 1940s cord bag and this little keychain that was attached to it here. So this item is translucent. It's carved. It's very durable, not breakable. I don't see any scratches on it. And this bracelet as well, carved, no scratches, durable, not exactly lightweight, not exactly heavyweight, but just, you know, really nice vintage plastics. Can anyone guess what I have right now? What are these made of? I'll give you a second. Well, if you guess lucite, you're absolutely correct. Now, the big giveaway is that they are translucent. And next up, I have a few other items to show you. I guess we'll start out with this guy. First of all, we have this guy. It's an old clown made of a vintage plastic. And the thing that these all have in common is that they look like ivory. This is a pin that was very big back in the 1940s. They all look like ivory. So hint, hint, hint. What are you thinking of? All of these pins and this guy, these are all celluloid. So they're very flammable. And if you rub them together, you're supposed to get the scent of camphor. I have never gotten that scent. I don't know if there's something wrong with my nose. I also wanted to show you here, earlier on in the video, I told you that I have mistaken ivory and celluloid before, and that is absolutely true. This mirror, which I did in another video, I showed you guys this in a different video. Hi, there we are. This is an ivory, French ivory back. To me, when I first saw this, I thought that this was celluloid because I'm like, I got it for like, what, $12, I think? I'm like, how could I have gotten French ivory for $12? So yeah, this is what I'm telling you, that celluloid and ivory are so mistakable. Now, last but not least, we have Bakelite, because of course that's the last one left, right? So I'm gonna just show you all of these and show you how I know that I have real Bakelite and that it's not fake. And as I said earlier, I do plan on going a little bit more into depth about the whole Bakelite thing and getting a little bit more into my collection and everything. But Bakelite is very easy to tell because of, number one, those bright colors. And number two, what you can do is, we'll do it on one of my spoons. Got these nice Bakelite spoons. This part is Bakelite. These are very, very, very old. And what you do is you either put it under hot water or you just rub with your hand, with your finger, and you smell, and it smells like formaldehyde. It smells kind of, to me, like a pool or something like that, like jumping into a pool. I ordered these off of eBay and they were like $55 or something like that. But I kind of bought them at the height of popularity. So they're all really pretty. And to me, they all look like Bakelite, first of all, because of those colors. The only one that didn't is this one. And it is a very odd color, but it's carved okay. Bakelite. So now, as promised, we're going to go over how much this stuff is worth nowadays. So for example, lucite of the three plastics is worth the least. And that's because people still use it today. People still like it today. And, you know, it's still in production. So for something like this, even though this is a nice carved lucite bangle, the most that you're going to get for something like this is like 12 bucks. And for the most part, you know, colored lucite, non-clear lucite, you know, it's only going to fetch you a couple dollars. So the lucite stuff, if you find that, it's not exactly going to be a moneymaker for you. The bigger moneymaker is going to be Bakelite of all of them. And I kind of semi-collect Bakelite. I have just a few pieces. For me, like, my husband's always saying to me, like, I want to get you jewelry for Christmas, or I want to get you jewelry for your birthday or Valentine's. And, you know, having gold, like, that would be nice. Like, my mother-in-law bought her entire house. Like, they have two houses. She bought her entire second house using her jewelry. Okay, I would love to be able to do that, but we can't exactly afford all of that. So having this like nice little collection of Bakelite, for me, that's my gold, you know? So Bakelite, is where the money is at. Something like this, these crystal, this is going to go for a bit more than the average thing. Bangles like this set for me was $50. Right now, it would probably be like $10 less, like $40. Like I bought these at the height of popularity. There are different colors that fetch even more money. Now, if you have a big, chunky Bakelite bangle that's all carved and funky looking, you're going to get some nice change for that. You could get $50 to $100 for something like that. If your stuff is signed Schultz, and it's got something odd about it, like inlaid balls or something like that, you know, you're going to pay up. You might even get $400 for something like that. So it just depends on what it is that you have. Now, as I said, as far as Bakelite goes, I do plan on doing a more in-depth video on the Bakelite because there is so much more to talk about as far as just the Bakelite goes. For celluloid, celluloid isn't exactly worth that much either, although it is kind of a selling point. Like if I were to sell this bag, I would actually put in it, you know, cord bag 1940s with a lucite clasp, because it does like add a little cachet to it. Like people really do like lucite celluloid and Bakelite like when you're selling something. So I have this listed up at, I think it's $25, this little clown, and I do say that it is a celluloid clown from Germany, etc. And that is a little bit of a selling point, but that's not why this is $25. This is $25 because it's unique and it's from the 30s and it's German and etc. So celluloid isn't exactly a selling point all on its own. It's because whatever that celluloid item is kind of cool and kitschy in some way. You're not so like, that is actually everything that I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. And if you are interested in identifying other pieces of jewelry, vintage jewelry that you may have, for example, cameos, then I have another video that I could show you where I teach you how to identify cameos. So I'll link that over here for you. But otherwise, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to making other videos about Bakelite and the other vintage plastics for you in the future. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.